This week we're going to talk about some of our most influential games or games that made a lasting impression on our lives or just in general are really good games. So I'll let Kuma kick it off with some games that he would recommend.
Well, this game is not for everyone, but I feel like they should at least try it one time in their lifetime. Just give it a try and finish the first part. And that game will be called Dark Souls 1.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, right?
Misery
Yeah.
Simulator.
So Dark Souls 1 is a minimalistic game. Not much is going on. Simple setting, the world with the first cutscene. Through you in, you just pick a character that you want to be, different moves or whatever. Simple, and, everything is just the color scheme is simple, the enemies are there. It's not much, pushing you to do certain things, you just, go about and just do it, and it's fair. Difficulty is one difficulty, you just gotta learn how to play the game. You get good, or you don't get good, but you get good eventually if you stick it out, and this
You
game is
spend
all
the
about
time and have the
yeah,
patience.
it's all about, uh, perseverance and, what's the other word I would say? Perseverance and I don't know, commitment.
And listening to your ego. Oh, that's me.
Listen to
That's
ego.
me. I
Well,
won't
it
give
could
up
hurt
on a boss.
egos. It could hurt egos because it's hard, but I just encourage everyone to at least play through the first area, which is really short, and it's really nice. It's really nice.
To
Uh, Say again?
say no, it's I remember when I don't think you were the biggest fan of these games for a while until you played Salt and Sanctuary.
Yeah, Song Sanctuary is my first game that put me into this type of uh gaming trends. This hard difficulty, dodging at the point, managing equipments.
Hmm.
That was like my first experience, but I didn't play Dark Souls. You know, from the from software games. The first one by then would be Bloodborne,
Really,
and that would be my second game to recommend.
I was about to say
Uh,
that too. I would recommend that one.
yeah,
I was gonna
because
expand that too. Also, I would say just the Soulsborne games in general.
in general, you will recommend.
I would recommend some more than the others, but they're all still worth playing. But yeah,
Yeah,
back to Bloodborne. Why do you
Bloodborne
recommend that?
and Dark Souls 1. It's just the setting is amazing. Like you just gotta figure out the story bits by bits, and I appreciate that. It doesn't like bore you to death with all these what do you call it, dispositions. So there's no long fucking cutscene if you're not into that shit. Put you right into the action, and then you could just read small bits and bits to piece together a story. And oftentimes these bits and bits are sometimes open ended, so you could decide what this story really is about.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
just
really
your
love that.
take on
Hmm.
the events that happen.
Yeah, and the world is just so pretty and so cool. Like these people NPC you bump into, they're couple liners will change time to time. I really enjoy it. I really appreciate the director's approach and this kind of storytelling. It's wonderful. Any
I yeah.
anything from you
About
about these two games?
Bloodborne, I'd say that's my favorite from software game so far.
Okay.
Just because of the setting, the aesthetics, and the themes of it. It was just it's very I don't know what kind of horror. I don't want to say it's gothic horror, but it's very unsettling.
Okay.
But it's my
Wow.
kind of uh environment that I like. I'm not
Okay.
too big into fantasy, and even though it's like dark
Oh,
fantasy for Dark Souls,
I see.
I'm not really into that. I'm usually into sci-fi or anything like that.
Ah, gotcha, gotcha.
But I still love those games. I
Hmm.
put more hours into those. But Bloodborne gripped me in a way that Dark Souls hasn't.
Oh, okay. I actually like Dark Souls better than Bloodborne. Like the lore. I think it was more impactful because like at the end of the day, you have the choice. I don't want to spoil anyone, but there's a choice that you could make at the end of the game, and that was wonderful. I did not know you could do that kind of thing.
It was well done. I like that.
hmm And then in Bloodborne, there is a transitional phase. You think this is one type of game, one type of horror. It became a different one. So I don't want to spoil anyone, but it is really impactful.
Right.
All right, that's enough about me. How about what games that you want to talk about?
Okay. I will say another game that I've really, really, really liked was, this is gonna sound weird, but the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney series.
Oh, you play that?
I
Wow.
played all of them and I love most of them. I almost said all of
Okay.
them, but
I
there's
I,
some
I
that are
did
not that
not
great.
see that coming, man. That's like a real anime
It's very
film
anime,
game.
but it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I love the dialogue. The writing
Okay.
is superb, and the characters are wacky and crazy.
Okay.
But there's just something fun about investigating a case, and you're just finding clues and everything. It's not just you're playing the role of an attorney; you're just playing a role like an investigator too.
Okay.
And I like those kinds of games. There's a mystery for these kinds of cases, so it's very compelling. And I was very invested in each case's story and like the characters' motives and everything like that, and how it got started.
Mm.
So I liked doing all that. I liked exploring the different things about it. It really made a huge impact because I usually didn't play those kinds of games. Like back then when it first came out, I was more about, like, honestly, I was more about being competitive. I liked playing fighting games and first person shooters.
Mm.
So when I played that, I was pleasantly surprised like how much I was invested in this game that I had to play all of them after that. And I still replay through them every year.
Wow. Okay. I probably gotta check that game out.
You
You
should.
sold
There's
it.
a lot of reading, but the dialogue, like I said, it's very funny.
It's like a visual
Very good.
novel type of game, right? Visual novel.
Kind of. There's like point and click.
Okay.
Um you there's two parts to these games. One is, so you're talking to witnesses and everything. You're like outside the case, you're gathering evidence and everything to make your case to prove your uh, client innocent. And
hmm
then you have the courtroom stuff, which
Mm.
then you're presenting and you're going. It's basically a boss battle because you're facing off against the other side, and they're constantly having traps for you, and they're trying to outwit you, and you're trying to outwit them. It's great going back and forth.
Okay. Definitely a must try.
Yeah. Any other games that you could think of
Oh,
that
of
most
course.
influential?
Yeah, this one I'm sure you will definitely agree with me. Persona 3.
Okay, I could see
Yeah.
that.
So like
People would
is
say
that
Persona 4.
well, Persona 3 was my first Persona game. And
Same.
I feel like Persona 3's story was better. It's
I think so
darker.
too. It was more
It was
interesting.
darker. It was darker. Like the old theme is darker and stuff. Like
And
first what?
and
And what?
the characters to summon their persona have to shoot themselves in the head.
They all shoot themselves in the head, which is awesome.
Yeah,
That's some dark shit right there.
that's crazy. And you see like there's a trail of like bits that come out of it. You can
Okay.
imagine that's like the brain matter and blood that you get time. It's
So
really dark.
so going back to why it's such a great game. First of all, they incorporate Japanese RPG. Like then they incorporate dungeon crawling, like the old aspects of RPGs.
Right.
And then they have this visual novel
Visual
kind of aspect.
novel-esque.
Yeah.
Like
And this
school
like
life.
exactly. And then you could like build relationships with people. Like that's just fucking cool. Like
Yeah. And there's a collectathon because you collect the personas, they can level up individually,
oh,
and then you can
true.
combine them to make stronger personas.
So
So
there's
there's
a
a
lot of
lot.
different, yeah, there's a lot of different like game mechanics inside this one game itself, and they do a great job of doing it.
Yeah,
It's
that
a wonderful
was
game.
when I first played that. I was blown away because it was nothing like this. Final Fantasy felt simple at the time because I'm just like
Yeah, it's
they're
turn based.
including so many different games into this one game that
Hmm.
I'm not bored because if I get bored of the dungeon crawling, I could always do the visual novel kind of stuff.
Hmm.
If not, I could start experimenting with personas and collecting them and everything like that. There's just a lot of variety that keeps you just always being interested in it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Not to
definitely a
say
great
I
game.
really loved Persona 4 and I'm still working on trying to 100% it. I'm getting close.
Oh, okay. Still playing it.
Yeah, and I'll definitely play through the Persona 5 Royal Edition. I love
Okay,
that
new
game too.
expansion. Hmm.
Yeah, which they're adding a new character, a new party member, a new
Hmm.
dungeon, and other things like that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with any of these Persona games. 3, 4, and 5. I don't know about the first two because I never played it,
I
so I can't
played through
really say
2, and
anything about it.
that's more of a slog because there's random encounters. It's not enemies you encounter in the world that you could
Oh,
avoid.
I see what you mean.
And there's
Okay.
a lot of random encounters.
Hmm.
Like you're it would be walking maybe 3 steps and then you're gonna encounter something. Finish
Okay.
that battle, walk 2 more steps, you're gonna encounter another one. It's an old
Okay.
game. It was back in the I think PS1 era,
Yeah, I think so.
but highly, highly, highly recommend Persona 3. Even though it's a little dated, but the theme and the story is very compelling.
Hmm. Well, maybe one day they might make a remaster, like give it the PS5 Persona 5 treatment. That'd be
I think they
awesome.
might have to fix some things about it then. I can't see
Well,
many people getting used to that.
it's just the character model. So if you think about it,
Not
like
just
the
the character
game,
models, but the game itself. There's
game
some
itself.
there's some
Okay.
parts that are a slog.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hasn't
So,
aged terribly well.
I don't know. I think people can still play it. It's
For
not
sure.
too bad. So what's the next game that is in your mind?
I'm gonna say Bioshock 1.
BioShock 1. Okay. I never really played through the whole thing. So let's talk about this in a non-spoiler way for me.
Bioshock 1 is like an alternative history because there's a underwater city. Very basic where I'm not gonna tell you what happens. You
Okay.
get to this underwater city, you explore, things go wrong.
Hmm.
Very basic.
Hmm.
What's great is the immersion it gives you because it constantly shows you the time period of the era. It has music that sound like back from like the 50s. It's
Okay.
like constantly, for lack of a better word, submerging you in the themes of the game and like the time era, the time period.
Mm.
It's very engrossing. It's easy to just get lost in that world, just fall
Okay.
in love with it, which I did, even though it's a creepy place. It's very fun. Like gameplay wise, not the greatest shooter, but the world building and everything was fantastic.
That's what we need more in these games.
Because every time I could think of if there's a game that comes out and I think of these generic shooters and everything, and then I start thinking about Bioshock, I can vividly remember a lot of details about it and like the world it created
Mm,
because it was so memorable to me.
okay. Well, I have the game. I just never played it. I just recently, maybe like 2 to 3 months ago, purchased the collection. I played BioShock Infinite. I never played 1 or 2, but that game was awesome too. I really enjoyed it, especially the twist at the end. That was really wonderful for me.
So what's
Okay, but
another
so
game you want to
another
share?
game I could think of. That's awesome. Well, in my head, I was thinking I was playing a regular RPG game, turn-based kind of games. which is Final Fantasy 13 Part 2 at the time. And then you're like, okay, I have this other RPG game. So I tried it. I fell in love with it. I dropped 13 Part 2 so quick. And this game is called Tales of Cilia.
Oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah, because I did not know RPG could be this engaging, this fun. So to give you guys a little, give the viewers a little, how this RPG
How
differs
it
from
works.
other RPG. So typical regular RPG is turn-based. You click button, you sit there and wait for the action and get complete, and then the enemy take a turn. So Tales of Cilia difference is because the gameplay mechanics is real-time action play. You control your character. You walk around, run around the area of the encounter. You fight, you attack, you cast magic. That kind of engagement is really fun. Like you don't get bored. It was awesome. Like that really drew me in. It's the gameplay mechanics, and then the characters. It's just a regular Japanese RPG. Like they're funny, they're cute, and it's anime character. I thought that was different for me. Oh, it was my first Tales game, and
It
I
was my
loved it.
first Tales game too. I snagged it when PlayStation Plus was a much better deal. It was offering free games every month.
And
Bunch.
that was yeah.
That was my
That, what was
first Tales game
that
though.
was your first Tales game? Well, it was fun. It was really great.
You know, funny story. When you were playing through Final Fantasy 13 too, I was playing through Final Fantasy 10 for the first time
Oh, really? Okay.
because they had a remaster for the PS3.
Okay.
And I'll tell you right now, I started playing Tales of Xillia. I dropped Final Fantasy 10.
Oh my god. So, me playing Cilia made you want to get back into it, huh?
No, I think I played Xillia before you.
Yeah, I
Since
mean,
I
of course, this is your game. I got it from you.
yeah, because yeah, I was going through. I was considering like trying to get the legendary weapons in Final Fantasy 10.
Oh my god, those
Like
are
do all
hard.
that. I started doing like the thunderbolt dodging,
Ah, those are horrible times.
and then I dropped that because I hated it.
Mhm.
And then I just started playing Tales of Xillia. I'm like, this is so much fun. I just played for the next like 50, 60 hours.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else from you that you could think of?
Let's see. I want to say. I mean, I could. There's like things I could mention that I played in my childhood, like Super Mario World, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pokemon, but none of them like really feel like it changed my life in any like substantial way.
Um,
You got any other? Trying to think
well,
of another one.
let's see. Well, this I wonder if this will be one. Well, this last one over here, I thought was really brilliant. A big change. I would say Resident Evil 4.
I was about to say that because I was going through my library.
I
Like I forgot
was,
about that.
I will say I have to say Resident Evil 4. Like I play horror games before. Like I always all the horror games you run away, you hide. And it's always like over the top, you walk around. That kind of horror games, over the top. And then Resident Evil came along, and I originally played the first one. I never beat it. I played it for the PS1. Never beat it. But this Resident Evil was so much fun, so much engaging. Um, Leon is a badass. I love him. I love his fucking kicks. Fucking dope. And this over the shoulder shooting was great. It was cool, really cool. I really and despite it being single player, it was the first Resident Evil game that did this kind of game mechanic. And like I love it how you after you beat the game, then you could dress the characters up. Just like some
Yeah, that
mods.
goofy costumes and
Uh-huh.
everything.
Those are cool. Like, and then for the PS2 version, you could get that special gun, that one
Right,
shot
there's
everything.
unlockable guns
Yeah.
depending on
So
what you do.
so this game was fun. Like it has this like mercenary mode that like is like an arcade kind of thing. Like you shoot everything as fast as you can, or whatever, get the high score. This game was fun. It has a lot in there, and the story wasn't the most interesting, but
You
you
didn't
could
think it
play
was
as a different
interesting. I
character.
thought it was fantastic.
You love it? I thought it was alright. But then you don't have to play as Leon, you can play as Ada Wong, the other,
A separate campaign. Yep.
Yeah, and I love Ada Wong, she's so fucking cool and hot, like, I just love her, like, crossbow. Eh, I don't know, I thought this game was great, it was fun for the time, I play a lot of it, it was scary, certain monster was scared the shit out me, it was hard enough,
Was there a
it was
crossbow
fair.
in 4? Did she use a crossbow?
Yes, and I think so, it was a crossbow gun.
I'm trying to think if you were mixing up 6. The 6 had the Ada campaign with the crossbow.
I believe it's a crossbow.
Okay.
Explosive rounds or something like that, but she did the red dress thing. Hmm.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, it was a great game. Really enjoyed that game.
Actually, there is one. I know people like the second game more than the first, but this one really, really changed, created a new genre of games. That
Okay.
was Borderlands 1.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right, they did. You're right. This game is really impactful.
It is the
It
grandfather of looter shooters.
Yes, okay. So so which one you recommend? 1 or 2? Which one are you talking about?
2. If you're
2?
talking about a gameplay perspective and how much to do, 2 is better. I
Okay.
will agree with people. But 1, I'm nostalgic as hell for because
Okay.
that's what I played when I first got into college and I had no money. I'm just
Uh,
playing this game that there was so much to do in it.
okay.
I'm just like hunting for new guns and everything. It's just like, yeah, I got my money's worth. But yeah, that's what paved the way. I didn't like 2 as much because I found the story there. It just felt like a soft reboot of the franchise to say, hey, we messed up the story a bit in the first game, so we got to redo it.
Hmm,
But it's still, I still think fondly of 1 just for
okay.
starting this whole thing, for better or for worse.
Mm,
And then there would be, depending on who you ask, whatever Final Fantasy game is the most influential to you, because I go
ah,
back and forth about this. So
okay.
either I'll say it's either Final Fantasy 7, because
Mhm,
that's actually the first Final Fantasy game I ever played, or Final Fantasy 9, which was I think was the second one,
okay.
or I actually ended up really really loving Final Fantasy 6, and I didn't play that until many years later.
I never played 6.
6 has a fantastic story
Yeah.
that's just not what you're expecting about characters,
Okay.
but
I
it's
have to
not
check
doing
it
for the
out.
sake of being trying to be different.
Mhm,
It makes sense,
mhm.
and just the plot goes in directions that you wouldn't have thought, without spoiling it too much, because I think this is a story that anyone that anyone in general that appreciates a good story in a game or just in media,
Okay,
this is pretty unique.
okay.
There's a lot of touching and awful moments in it.
Uh,
It's a very it's a very clear cut of there's a beginning, middle, end, and you're satisfied when it ends, and a little sad because you're not gonna
oh,
spend more time with these characters.
I see. Wow, sounds really, really great. I
It's
need to check
got
that
the
game.
old combat of Final Fantasy though. So if you're not into the turn based like kind of thing, might not like it.
Mm. Oh, there's the warning out there for you viewers.
Yep. That's all I can come up with right now.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't say Final Fantasy 8.
I mean, Final Fantasy VIII was a great game. It's my first game. But now we're talking about games that made like a big change, big impact. I don't think Final Fantasy VIII did that for me. But it is the
Okay.
gateway game for RPGs for
Mm-hmm.
me for sure.
I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Let's talk about it then. Like Final Fantasy VIII. The opening is has to be one of the best openings for any fucking game. The epic music with
I
the
just thought of a game
chorus.
now. What did you just thought of one of the best openings?
Okay.
Did you?
Maybe we should save that for a different topic.
I'm gonna end with one last one after
I
you
know.
finish.
Let me finish Final Fantasy VIII. And I mean, I just like the mechanics, like just going around organizing this equipment, how gathering magic, and overall, I thought the game was fun. I played many hours of it. I enjoyed it, and I mean, I urge people to try it out because they did recently release a remaster. It may not be the best RPG, or may not even be the best Final Fantasy. Like opinions, differ. But I still think it's a fun game. Fun
It's
game
got
that
its
I would
moments.
play. Yeah, I would definitely play it again.
I still have to finish it.
You have to. You have to.
But actually, I just thought of two more games.
Oh
I'll
my
go real
god.
quickly about it.
This video never ends.
So the first one, well, whatever. So the first one that when you're talking about really amazing openings, it just came to mind is Mass Effect 2.
Mass
I
Effect
love
2.
that game so much. I completed that game at least 4 or 5 times,
Okay, damn.
like 100%ed.
Wow.
I
That's a
loved it
lot.
so much. I tried every route possible,
Okay. Wow.
both evil and bad, trying all the
Okay.
conversation options,
Wow.
like seeing the different like endings and
Okay.
trying different like how I could change it.
Okay.
So that was probably still my favorite in the Mass Effect series.
Okay. Yeah, I'm still working through it. I'm like near the end. And I do not remember the opening, unfortunately. Please forgive me.
Game. It's a
Yeah.
very good start. That's the tone.
Okay. Oh, you're right. I do remember now. Okay. Not gonna spoil for anybody, but I remember. Okay. That was really odd though. It just happened out of nowhere.
It happened out of nowhere, but I was shocked.
It was exciting, I'm not gonna lie. It was exciting.
It's especially exciting because if you play the game before, you got to know like your characters around you, and then that happens. It's just even worse for you
Mm,
because no other game really did that at the time.
mm,
Because you really felt connected after like once that happened. But we can talk about that later. There's
mm,
another one, and that was Knights of the Old Republic 2, and I can't believe I almost forgot about that.
okay.
It wasn't so much the gameplay because there was also the fact that it was unfinished. It was rushed out.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they didn't. They only had a year of development,
1
so
year?
1 year.
Wow. To develop that massive game?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm surprised. Okay.
It was just a Star Wars RPG in the Bioware kind of style.
Mhm.
But they did a fantastic job, even though they had limited amount of time. Like the story that they had and the themes about it, the consequences, and just it's not it shouldn't be easy to make decisions, and it tells you this because usually with those games at the time they always had a clear cut choice of good and bad for Bioware games, which were a
Mhm.
fault to it.
Oh.
So then this game was like, oh, I always bring up this example because this is the most memorable. So you have this character, the mentor, who tells if you help this beggar on the street, this homeless man, you give him money. You feel good. You get the initial good points for it. And then she contacts you and says, why did you do that? And you're like, because it was the right thing to do, you'd normally say if you're playing a good character. And she's like, really? If you're going to do the good thing, are you you're not able to foresee what happens from your initially good act? Because after you do that, it shows you the guy, he's being really happy, he's bragging about how he got money and he can buy food and everything, and then he gets mugged and killed
Oh.
because someone got jealous and saw he has money. Another beggar kills him, takes the money, and runs off. And then she explains to you, this is what happens because you only see that you're just giving the initial goodwill of you want to help this person, but after they're gone from you, you don't know how like how the world's going to treat them after. it's going to be unpredictable, is what I'm saying. So it had things like that really expanded my things about morality and just just things about how you can't always control everything, even though you may have initial good intentions.
Mm, mm,
It may end up hurting that person or you later on.
mm. Okay.
But yeah, that's probably my most influential game, honestly.
Okay.
It's still one of my favorite games of all time.
Never played it. Must try.
First and second game are more must tries for anyone that likes a good story, a good RPG. Even if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, they're still very good games. But I think that's enough of our list. We have a good amount of games we talked about, right?
Yeah, it was a lot.
A
But I
lot.
hope you guys check out each one. Give it a
Yeah.
shot, you know?
Or let us know what your influential games are. They would probably be different from ours, but that's okay. Because there shouldn't be a clear cut answer for these. Just your opinion.